What up, everybody? It's AD Jackson here at Lounges Content Studio, and I'm here with my bros at the Creative Mindset.
It's Dwight. Check us out.
Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Mindset. Yep, new location. Shh. Even though you can already see where we at. Today we got two very special guests, man. These gentlemen are a staple in the community. They created a creative hub for the community. If you ain't never been to this place, then what are you doing with your life? But Creative Mindset family, please, I want to introduce and welcome AD Jackson and Dwight Robinson.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you for coming.
I appreciate you all for having me, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we doing some crisscross. Hey, man, how y'all gentlemen feeling today, man?
Outstanding.
I feel good, man. I feel good to be here, man. We at home, so, it feels right, man.
Yeah, it came to you. It was only right to come to your house,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I appreciate you for having us here, man. It feels a little different, being on stage, you know what I'm saying? Just in our own vibe, in our own element, man.
Yeah,
But it feels good to be right here under these lights, man. So I just want to start out, for the people who don't know, let's talk about lounges. What was the motivation behind lounges? They're going to find out a little bit later how community-oriented you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? But let's just talk about lounges and what was the inspiration behind it?
Oh, man. So Lounges is a culmination of all my efforts through multiple, smaller spaces that I've had previous to Lounges. It started off with my partner and I, talking about vision for the future on a napkin, in a bar. It sounds crazy, it sounds cliche, but that's exactly how it happened, man.
It's perfect, I love it.
And, I wanted it to first be a upscale barbershop type vibe. We were gonna have brown leather, tufted couches, upscale cigar lounge. The vision was very, very grand. Not to say where we at right now is not up to that par, but God saw fit for, a pivot, and here we are, a multifaceted art hub, event space, curated space. It feels good.
So this was created on a bar napkin. I got experience with a napkin. But, I couldn't find paper in the house. I just ended up just writing on a napkin real quick, just because I seen it in the movie.
No, for real.
So you seeing this on a napkin, Dwight, what was your take on it?
So Adam is extremely creative. He had several different spots, and he kept on creating new spots. So when he told me his vision, I'm like, man, that's actually a good idea. So, I went home and told my wife about it, and she's like, anything Adam comes up with, you go.
Love Aaron, man. Love Aaron.
So I'm like, all right, let's go, and that's how it started. He had the idea, he wrote it out, wrote it really nice too, man. It was nice. You should have seen it. Like he said, it was a cigar lounge. We had all these little lounges, and, he told me what he wanted to do, and I was all for it.
Is that napkin still floating around?
We got a picture of it.
Yeah,
we got a picture of it.
All right, man, we need to go.
I'll give it to you.
We need to print that out.
We got the picture of it.
We need to hang that.
Yeah. We got the picture of it. We put it side by side next to the original floor plans. Compared to all the scribble. Oh my goodness, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, I like to count the small victories, even just like the memory of things, man. So I believe that should be hanging up somewhere in here.
No,
I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's a piece of art because it all started with a thought, and it could have just been a dream.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So, now that you are in this space right here, lounges is a thing. Talk to us about some of the things that you had pursued to get people aware of the space.
So you spoke on before about community. Huge in the community. I had a bunch of art buddies that I already knew that we were mingling. We met on the scene at the poetry, open mics, and some of my smaller spaces like Jackson Motif Social Space. Coincidentally, is right across the street from this space. But we were hosting poetry nights, and a lot of the artists and other creatives were coming, and I think it rolled over into something that I saw what people needed. I saw what the artists needed first. And I knew that there were other curated shows. 76th, 78th Art Studio. I went to an art show there, and then unfortunately they closed or something. And there was a gap. There was a gap where it was dope venues where you can go and, have great lighting, great ambiance, good music, and artists can thrive. Here, our art our walls are free, you know, so that's how we're able to get so many artists in here. But it was just a gap that needed to be filled. You know, it wasn't something where artists felt like they were getting duped or they put all their work or their intellectual property into that artwork. And then, you know, the venues wanted to cut. I'm just saying all off the vibes. We were going to vibe in other areas with events. It's just all eyes on the artwork now, you know, and the vibe gives it a heartbeat for lounges, you know.
Okay, so I'm knowledgeable about you about this 2 years I've known about you. So, and I know about Jackson's Motif as well as the brand. I didn't know it was a space beforehand.
Yeah.
So, what is your background in art besides the brand of Jackson's Motif? Because I see you got apparel. But what was your foundations of art?
So I really got into art heavy and John Hay.
Okay.
I can't remember my art teacher's name, and it's crazy. But Ned Sanders, he's a photographer here. He was in art class with me. He'll remember. But I got into it really, really heavy, learning different techniques when it came to, I think it was first still life and realism. I was just doodling, you know. I was just doodling. I had a good art teacher. He really stayed on me, you know, taught me how not to cut corners and all this good stuff. And we had art submissions that we would give for different degrees, I guess, wherever we wanted to go. You know, we were applying for just scholarships in various places. I actually ended up getting a partial scholarship to the Art Institute of Cleveland.
Fire.
But I didn't go. I went to the military, man, because back then I didn't understand what partial anything meant. It was just like, bro, who's gonna pay for the other half? Of all, like, you know, I'm gonna go to school. What's partial, you know? And when I got the details, I was just like, well, hell, shit, I'm going to the military because it just didn't make sense, man. And I haven't touched art. I think the better question is just like, man, I bottlenecked all that creativity, man. And when I got out the military, it's just like, it was just an outlet. I got my hands on empty spaces and went crazy, man.
So similar to me and bruh, like he's more of the artistic one, you know, color line, did music. I'm more of I guess you would call it a serial entrepreneur or opportunist. Makes me want to ask you, when you're dealing with somebody that's very artistic within this business partnership and this relationship, friendship, what is the role that you play? Because usually artists are very much so broad, visionary, and they need a lot of structure.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, and usually you need somebody comparable to structure it and make it work so it actually is feasible.
Yeah.
So what is the role you play in this business partnership?
So Adam comes up with a lot of things. You know, most of the time I say, just cook, man, do what you do, you know, but when he gets, you know, real grand or the budget gets crazy, you know, then I'll tell him to chill out on some things. But, you know, he's an artist and you can't control an artist. You know, you can't stop, you know, their creativity. So he just makes things. He just goes. You know, he'll call me and say, hey, man, you should come down here and check it out, man. I just created something. You know, and I mean, when you look at this space, you know, most of this stuff he did with his hands, you know, he did it himself, you know, so, yeah, my role is behind the scenes, you know, make sure the money works, the money's tight, and all the paperwork side of the business.
Well, just let us know a little bit more about your real estate background. We was just talking about off camera about rental properties that you own and your prowess within that field and how that complements lounges.
Yeah, so I've been in the real estate business for 20 years now. I bought my first investment property back in 2005.
Right before that market crash, that was
Yeah,
clutch.
well, even when the market crashed, I still made money. I was buying properties back then. You know, as long as you had cash, you can buy a good property. So I grew up, my father was in the real estate. You know, he had rental properties, and I saw what he did, and I said, hey, I want to do that as well. So he always told me that if you own property, you'll be all right. So my goal was to always buy some property. You know, no matter what I did career-wise, I knew I was going to be in real estate, owning property, rentals, flips, or something. So that's what got me, that's how I started back in 2005, you know, one property at a time. Shit. What was the rest of your question?
How is your level of expertise been comparable to the success of lounges?
Oh, so, you know, even like this place right here, you know, we have a landlord, unfortunately. We don't own the building, but, you know, dealing with the landlord, dealing with, contractors as far as fixing things when things go wrong in the space. I know about the ends of property management. So where Adam is, that's not his thing, he just say, man, we got something going on, take care of it, like, can you handle this, because, that's not his area. He might get frustrated because, I'm used to dealing with, contractors and the way, real estate goes. So my thing is, hey, Adam, just relax. I'll handle this. Dealing with contractors is very easy for me. But in this space here, oh shit, I'm trying to think. What else do you?
I really think, man, the way like we have had some chaotic things, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We spoke of like how artists can just be, you know. Here I am thinking like, hey man, it's four walls. Nothing will leak. Nothing will break. Nothing would, the God is going to bless us. We're good.
Right.
Man, the ceiling floods. The ceiling starts leaking. And I just picture this guy like with some tea and he's just like legs crossed. We'll handle it, bro. We'll you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll call somebody. And I'm over here like, the artwork, the space, It's like, well, it happens, man. The furnace go out, a flood, anything is just like, man, I really think his composure compared to I'm emotionally invested. I'm sure he is too, but it is just like, this is my baby, So, and then everyone's artwork and everything. So it embodies a lot of like, it feels like an extension of me. This dude's chill, like calm and collective nature, it balances out my passion because I will fire on one of these contractors. And he's just like, no, we're gonna do the talking with the pen. You know what I'm saying? We go, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it has worked out because I think back on some situations we done been through. Brother, I would have been out on the street. I would have been out on the sidewalk with all the art, so he really took care of that.
So that leads to my next question. With you knowing your brother, and then your wife said, you follow everything that Adam does. I can just see her pointing the finger. You follow everything that he does. And also I can identify with you because my father owns several rental property as well. So that's something that's knocking at my door slowly but surely when that time comes. But from listening to my father, once you in the properties, you addicted. So are you always looking for the next space? Because you said, unfortunately, you have a landlord. Are you always looking to have another space? Because you have the visionary here, and then you're the numbers guy. But then after a while, you do see the vision of the art. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man, we can do ourselves, a lot more by, expanding these four walls. And I was looking online, and I seen this property here.
Oh, I'm always looking. I'm always on the market, seeing what's out there. So if something does come across my desk, that makes sense. We'll definitely go after it. As far as commercial space, residential space, I'm always looking every day.
MLS warrior.
Yeah. So how does that come because I understand being the artist. And when you in your way, you know what you want. When somebody try to bring some on your plate you don't want, you're like, all right, bro, I'll look into it. And then you'll look, all right, I'll look into it. How do you get things across when it's like, look, we need to take a look at this real quick because this makes sense for both of us?
Yeah, it's all based on the numbers.
Okay.
For me, every decision I make is based off of math. If the numbers don't work, I'm not gonna fool with it.
All right. So for some of our viewers out here, I want you to let them know because, pop culture has told them that numbers don't lie. And then I'm actually a business major and I took accounting.
This is the truth, I have a MBA degree. I study finance and the numbers, every decision I make is backed by data. So if the numbers don't work, I'm not going to go any further. Like I flip properties. I know how much every dollar that I'm putting into that house. I know how much the material costs and I'm tracking it on the spreadsheet. And once, Adam will tell you, man, I tell him all the time, like, hey, what's going on with these numbers here? One time we had somebody dumping stuff in our trash can, our trash bill went up, and I'm like, what the hell?
No, every cent, every cent.
Bro, you bringing stuff from home? What?
I just bought 4 boxes of cups. I was like, I can assure you I'm not doing nothing with the cups.
I'm tracking everything, because that's our bottom line. So it's like, watch those numbers because a lot of businesses, they go out of business because they're not making any money. They don't know their numbers. Like people who want to flip property. They'll buy a property and throw all this money into it, and then they try to sell it, and they over improved it. You know, they didn't know their numbers. They didn't understand their market.
I'm
So
glad you said that because statistic is most small businesses don't make it past a year. So here at the Creative Mindset, we like to talk about mental health, and that's a big thing because you are a creator as well. I don't know if you even look at it that way, but you
I don't
create.
tell them that all the time.
Yeah, you are a creator. You create in a different way. You know what I mean? You create opportunity. You know what I mean? You create in the future. You know what I'm saying? And everywhere where your knowledge is of expertise, you're creating a position and a new route for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may not even look at it like that. Like, man, I'm just doing. But you are a creator.
Yeah.
You really are a creator. Without your skill set, a lot of things wouldn't exist and they aren't possible. Realistically, like the duality between this relationship that is sitting here right here amongst us. So talk to us about the mindset with going through creating lounges. You know what I mean? Because, you know, dealing with contractors and people are telling you what you know can be done, but you know, for whatever makes sense in their head, they're telling you it can't be done. You know, what was that process leading up to making this place enjoyable as it is?
I think I'll start, man, and I'll let you jump in. So, I think when it shifted from the idea of being some like elite cigar lounge, something, you know, I'm really glad it shifted to what it is right now, and what we deal heavy in is hearts and mind, and kind of deconstructing the idea of, do you need to be somewhere really bougie and posh to have a good time? We've had some of the most influential people in Cleveland party in lounges, you know, hosted their birthdays, events, celebrations in lounges. And we're a boutique space. So I think what we embody and what keeps us, you know, to your question is we deal heavy in hearts and minds. Like it's not so, and it may, I don't know if that frustrates you or not, man. That's where I'm gonna give it to you. Where it's just like, hey, I am more so like, hey, tell me whose birthday it is. You know, tell me what's going on. You're a single mother, you're gonna, you know, all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, hey, Dwight, we gonna go ahead and do it for her. You know, blah, blah, blah.
definitely like that.
But what I found out is that that person that could not is going to put me in the hands of somebody that can. And usually we'll make that up. You know, we'll make that up. But that's where he comes in because he keeps the balance too, man. Whereas I'm hearts and mind, it's also like, let's look at reality. I'll say, hey, man, I want to go ahead and get stage lights and I want a big disco ball. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, yo, I hear you, but like, how are we going to be afloat for next year? You know, what about this and that? So, you know, I hope that answers your question, man.
Absolutely. Because there's many avenues to it, but just what was here, you gave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we were doing the space, before this was lounges, it was like an office space. So you should have seen it before. We had to demo everything, and some things we couldn't do ourselves, so we had to hire some contractors. Adam, as a creative, is always in a rush. You know, let's go, let's go, let's go. You know, so he's hiring, you know, the wrong people. I'm saying, hey, we need to chill out. You know, let me get my guys over there. You know, so it's some things that set us back, you know, because, you know, speed, you know, he wants to go all the time. Whereas I'm going to take my time and get the right people in here, you know, even though it might cost a little bit more, we get it done right the first time, you know, and so we don't have to rework something, an issue, you know, because we hired the wrong person. So that's, you know, that's where I'm at, you know, just keeping him, you know, let me handle the construction side. Yeah, you're a builder, but let me deal with the outside folks that come in here and help you, you know.
As multifaceted orators and that's constantly communal and giving and receiving from the community that you invest in, what keeps you intact with your mental health? What does your off time look like? How do you decompress? Because we both know as business owners, as experienced people within the community, that we pour sometimes more than we're filled, and that, you know, the filling of the cup sometimes has to come from us. So how do both of you, you know, decompress, chill, you know, get yourself together?
That's a good question. I'm still working on that. You know, I like the vacation, you know, spend time with, you know, my wife and kids, but I don't have a set thing. You know I need to do more for my mental health. I need to take more breaks, because honestly, I do work 7 days a week,
You just said it off camera.
yeah, I don't have to, but, the way I was raised, I'm the son of immigrants. My parents are Jamaican and they always work, 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 get things done. And so I'm used to working, getting things done. Whether, when I had a job, I would do my job and then I would do some real estate after work, so it's constantly get it done. And my wife tells me all the time, it's like, she tries to set aside a weekend for us. Like, hey, this is a weekend off, no phones, we're not working. But of course, I have two phones, and I'm looking like, all right, what's going on?
You're always you're casually working. That's the term that I use.
Yeah. I don't like money to run away from me, unfortunately. So I do work too much.
I understand, brother. I understand.
So, create. I get into ruts, man. It's kind of like some of my darkest areas, but I love operating in that space. I just can't stay in that space for too long. I created this space out of that, like I shut everybody out. I become very distant. I become to myself, but once it's done, it's done, So I like to create. And I put if it's negative energy, whatever energy, if I need to unpack it, I'm going to put it into whatever whatever I'm working on. And then working out, been dedicated for a whole year now. My son and we're getting in the gym together. Just trying to, and I leave this place. I don't speak to you about you and your creativity, man. How long have you been like at the computer editing or just coming up with a concept or once you come to, you just like, man, I've been in here for 18 hours. I need to go outside. So I try to get space from here and be outside because I will live in here, man, so I try to just get out, man, get out these four walls and do things out of
I
here.
seen them 10 miles the other day.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I run, man. I run, gain some mental clarity, so push my body, but that's pretty much it.
Hey, we got to make a pact before we leave here. We all got to start running together.
No, for sure.
Because I'm not running. You're not
Yeah.
running. But these two run.
Yeah. The funny thing is I used to run. I did marathons, but now it's like, man, I'm over it.
Yeah, when I met him, he was clearing marathons.
Yeah.
He was clearing. I think you did at least 3.
I did 3.
Yeah. So he'll run.
So I give you a strong 2 miles now.
That's about where I stopped.
Yeah.
2 miles, maybe a little over.
That's it.
I think that's a good segue into the fact that y'all both are military veterans. Thank you for your service. From one veteran to another, I respect both of y'all branches.
Thank you, man.
The Navy.
Not too much on the Navy,
I'm chilling, but y'all
Yeah.
get the work done. Just talk about y'all experiences coming up as black men in the military, with it being more heavily dominated by white folks and whatnot. What was your experiences there in terms of your mental health? Because I know it was a trying time for me, just going in and being in a white dominated space, coming from the hood, primarily only dealing with black people and, systematic organizations and things of that nature. I'm only dealing with blacks. I'm only in my community. Everywhere I see black people, to just be thrust into a white environment was different for me. And I was always singled out because I had so much confidence. So how was y'all experience in the military?
Well, you want to go Navy?
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Army. Go ahead.
No, well, as you know, in the military, everything is pretty cliquey, So
Definitely.
I had, my set of folks that I hung around with, I had a chief warrant officer who was to look out for me. And basically, whatever chief said, I would do what he would do, what he would say. So, like, a lot of people wouldn't mess with me because they knew I was like, hey, man, he's hooked up with Chief, man. Don't.
Right. I had a chief here. That was my chief here.
But basically, like I said, I hung around my little crew of folks in the military, so I really try to stay out of trouble, away from folks who, I didn't really align with. That was kind of easy for me.
What was your MOS?
So when I first signed up, I was 63 whiskey, which was a light wheel mechanic when I first signed up, and then I changed my MOS later on. I was in the military back in, what was this, 2000?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like,
Right before 9/11.
yeah. So, 9/11 happened maybe 3 months
3 years ago.
after I got out of AIT or something, you know?
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So, long time ago. I only did, 6 years total, but, yeah.
Man, I was a knucklehead, man. I was a knucklehead. I was a knucklehead all the way through and through. So even signing up, shout out to my recruiter, Master Chief Ranshaw. He's from Cleveland, and I know he'll see this. He recruited me when he was a second class. He was an E5. I put that man. He had a doc. He had a corpsman over him as the recruit, whatever senior enlisted leader at the time. She was a first class. I kept on popping on my piss test. I just couldn't stop smoking, man. Popping on my piss test. He was real chill. He was real cool. But I had to go down to Columbus. I had failed, and I ended up getting this big tattoo on my arm. So I had to go and talk to an admiral. He's asking me, why do I want to get into the military? Why am I not taking it serious? These guys see potential, whatever. So I ended up getting in. I ended up getting in, and for the first couple of years, I was shell shocked by that, getting thrown into this environment where it's just all just white folks. I could not acclimate, and the only thing I could do was go into what I knew. I'm from Cleveland. I'm not the representative of Cleveland. It ain't nobody can call up in Cleveland how to do dirty work for me at this time. I'm from Cleveland. I'm a grown ass man. Blah 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 blah. That's all I could hide behind because I didn't know shit. I was ignorant and I was confident. I was scared though. I was scared out of my mind. And that's all I could gravitate to is I'm from Cleveland. And that was my defense, man. And I got set back a bunch of times. I got set back in boot camp, fighting in boot camp. I got set back.
Me too.
Falling asleep on watch. I got set back, falling asleep on watch. And I didn't really get it together until I had a Master Chief, my senior enlisted leader on my first ship. I was getting in so much trouble that was on the brink of kicking me out. And he talked to me on the smoke deck. At the time, I was still smoking miles. I was depressed. I was just going through so much bullshit my first 4 years, and it was all self-created. And he told me, he was just like, man, this thing was here before you ever thought about the Navy. You know what I'm saying? This thing been around. He was like, when was the Navy invented? You know, he like asking me questions I should know from my warfare pen at the time.
Right.
And he's just like, bro, like, I don't want to kick you out this thing. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I've been in here 26 years and I'm making a living for myself. I'm sending money back home. I'm taking care of my family. You could do the same thing. You don't have to embody everything. But it's just like, man, get to my point and create the change that you want. Right then and there, I was 4 years in the military at that time. Right then and there, it was just a shift. And then I had my son and everything turned around. And in 10 years, I had made E7. And then, you know, I was in leadership. And everything else just went along and ended up getting out. Here we are.
Thank you for sharing your stories.
Yeah,
and again, thank you for your service. With that being said, all of those experiences combined helped y'all start y'all budding nonprofit, which is Veterans Lift. If y'all just want to speak on the reason why y'all started Veterans Lift, another form of creation, another form of orating, another form of communal care. We all know 22 veterans commit suicide a day. And I know that mental health is very big amongst us as veterans. So what started the idea for Veterans Live and helping veterans with their transition back into society?
Well, for me, the military was great for me. And I feel like a lot of veterans don't take advantage of all the resources that the VA offers us. You know, I was able to go to school for free, get a bachelor's, get a master's, buy a house. We were just talking about a VA home loan. You know, I got a few properties off of that. So it's like, man, I want to help the other vets, you know, to utilize their resources, you know, that's out here. You know, I used to work downtown at the Federal Building, and I would see, you know, people outside, you know, say homeless veteran, or I'm a veteran, I need some help. And I would walk them in like, you know, you guys need to go up to the 7th floor, go to the VA, you know? So it's like, I want to be able to, help the fellow vets, because I hate to see a vet that's down, That was the big thing for me, just helping our people,
Respect.
So as far as me being a creative, I didn't jump back into that until I got out the military. I shelved all of that. I shelved the creative aspect. And I see a lot of, when it comes to homeless lists, I see a lot of veterans and anybody alike, man, you don't know your options. You don't know what's afforded to you. You're not tapping into what's inherently yours. And it starts with creativity. But you may be a manager, you may be whatever it is. The part where he wants to help is where I come in with the creativity. Versus like, let's unlock that part of you. You may not even know that you could be a real estate guy.
Yeah.
So here's Dwight, like, you know what I'm saying? He's a subject matter expert, and we'll teach you not how to be like us or, like anyone, but it's just like tap into you. At least let's afford you the opportunity. And we have resources. And while we was in the military, it was the same way. It was some nepotism. We got with your battle buddy or your mentor or somebody, they gave you that reach around. That's what we're trying to do on the civilian side of things now. That's what we try to do on this side, of the uniform is really give folks, hey man, tap into being a barber, tap into, if you paint, come on, I know a place where we can put your artwork up and let's figure out the business side of that, just either for supplemental pay or give you routes of starting and scaling your business, so. That's what we're doing for veterans.
I think that's what's so special about Veterans Lift. It's not selling the ideology. It's coming to somebody, meeting them where they are, and asking them to do a certain level of introspection to figure out who they are without that military covering, without being breadcrumb and spoon-fed everything. Because people don't know you are conditioned as a soldier, somewhat brainwashed to a certain degree. So it's like once you're in that system and you break away, you really don't know who you are without that uniform. And I think that's what's going to make the shift for the veteran community and men and women of service in general, outside of the programs of the VA, and y'all being more of a connector to the VA and the benefits. Yeah. So I really look forward to seeing y'all doing great things in that space.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And collaborate with you all. With Men in the Den, huge help. Thank you, brother. From just speaking for both of us, man, like we have the idea, but we have no guidance, no real world guidance. And you've already been doing the work. You and your team have already been doing the work, man. So it's a blessing just to collaborate with you all and y'all sharing the stage and y'all platform. So we are truly, truly appreciative of everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. The relationship means the world.
No, thank you.
So with that being said, I just want to congratulate y'all right quick on this stage right here, because we're speaking about this all publicly, that you all doing it, and even in collaboration with us. But just to take a step back and look at it, congratulations to y'all, because y'all accomplished that. Y'all went into, stepped outside of the creative space, even though it's still creating. It's just a service, a creative service, kind of like this, what we created here. And it's an honor to truly have you here on this platform to talk about how you're going to be servicing people, because again, on the creative mindset, we serve creators by amplifying what you already do, but also giving you a platform to connect with people, as well as for us to connect with you as the creator, not just what's the next project, what's the next thing. We ask some of those questions, but you appear is what means more, because like the term overnight success, people always call people overnight success when it's probably 5 to 10 years plus that's been into that. It's only overnight to you, just because they just came out of nowhere to you. When people say stuff come out of nowhere, like, it came from somewhere, you just didn't see where it came from.
You don't see the work.
Exactly. So I do want to, man, no matter where we at, when we in the city, man, Cleveland don't never know how to be quiet, man.
The city's music.
I don't think we went one episode without him.
I always want to point it out, though.
That's how they know it's not AI, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's
We real. We real. We real, yeah.
Yes, the creative mindset attracts sirens, bro. There's sirens in every single episode, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the city. I also want to backpedal real quick, because you was like, I'm from Cleveland. That was like your same thing. Man, what is it about us that's Cleveland native creatives to where we
Because
go
don't
other
nobody give a
places.
shit. Like, you know.
Facts. And when you go other places, the most motherfuckers would be like LeBron James.
Yeah,
You
that's
say
it.
Cleveland, they say LeBron.
Yeah.
Shout out to that
Or
Cleveland
Bone
pride, man. So,
Yeah.
when we in places that are unfamiliar, how do you both handle that unfamiliarity to having to stick to your guns and know that you're here for a place? Because when we were like young, I would say adolescents, because 18 still don't make you grown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can look back and laugh at my 18-year-old self and be like, man, that's crazy. You went there acting like that.
Yeah.
Somebody should have whipped your ass. For real, just because the arrogance. Like you said, I'm from Cleveland. You probably said that with your chest out.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And people
yeah.
like people from everywhere else like
they're like push-up position. Begin. They're like begin. What are you talking about?
Half right.
so we working on new projects and we have a place that we want to go, but you have those obstacles. How are we navigating those obstacles now?
A shot. No, I'm joking. So how you do it, bro? Like I mean, because I feel like you in a bunch of different places, going to conferences, and man,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
abroad. Like, you know, how you do it, man? Dealing
Please
with all
don't
this.
dumb it down for us, because and look, I'm gonna give you perspective. The reason why I want to say don't dumb it down too, because again, kind of like you being a creator, you're not even really looking like that into creative. Like, look, man, you create, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You are a black man, family of an immigrant, and you are doing numbers. You get what I'm saying? So it's not even too many people that look like us already in those spaces. And then you may come across somebody who telling you what you want to do is elementary or something, or they're questioning why you are pursuing what you're pursuing in like a way that makes it seems foolish or something like that, but it means something to you. And it's like one of those things, if you don't know, you know. But also you may have people that tell you other things are more profitable, but you know what's important to you.
Yeah.
So when you're faced with these things, how are you navigating it?
Yeah. So I think, like he was saying, you know, I'm in a lot of spaces. I think my secret weapon is my wife.
Okay.
You know, she will encourage me to, you know, do more. You know, like I told you, I started off in, you know, real estate, you know, buying, you know, houses, flipping houses. And I came home saying, hey, I want to get into apartments. You know, I want to get in this, you know, and, you know, she will challenge me and make me try to explain why I want to do something, you know. My wife is, she definitely helps me, motivates me to, you know, to do more. And then once I get in these spaces, you know, I go to a lot of conferences, you know, my big thing is I'm never satisfied. You know, like I said, I've been in real estate for 20 years. Yes, I've already hit millionaire status, but it's like I'm always hungry for more. You know, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
Foundation was important. You said your wife.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people may, you know, not have that person.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're gonna know. Y'all would know Aaron and remember Aaron after you meet Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Like, his wife is dope, and I compliment him all the time on his family. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could hold the stage herself.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, forget this. You know what I'm saying? She could hold the stage herself. So, yeah, I've seen it in live action.
Do you
man.
feel like you've surrounded yourself with two extroverted people?
Oh,
Like
yes.
your wife and baby?
Yes.
Where you can naturally be yourself.
I'm the introvert. They just go, you know, and it's like, man, you know, I'm gonna sit back and be quiet until you start talking about real estate. Then I wake up like, all right, you know, it's funny, you know, I go to a bar or something and I won't talk to anybody, and then somebody say something about real estate, and then my ears just go. Then I start having a conversation with.
He get giddy when you see a performer.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah, you
performer.
know. I guess it's just the things that, you know, that interest me a lot, you know. But I'm always just listening to what other people are doing, you know. So I observe a lot, I read a lot, and that's what, you know, helps me be successful. You know, I do a lot of research. You know, when I was a kid, I couldn't go outside in the summertime. You know, my parents like sit in the house and read a book. You know, even though I wasn't the greatest student in high school, I always read. You know, my library at home is, you know, crazy. You know, I have a lot of books, you know, and it's mostly, you know, business things, real estate things, or whatever. And that's what helped me get to where I'm at now because I do a lot of research. You know, where other folks, you know, just see things on social media, I will go get the book and, hey, how do you do this? Or surround myself with people who are already doing it so I can learn what that is. You know, I've been in mastermind groups where I paid a lot of money for just to be in a room with someone that's, you know, smarter than me at a subject, you know?
So how you navigating, creator?
Man, it is a learned practice every day. I think I go off of vibes. These days, because I've created such an environment here, I don't have to be in other people's spaces. Like they actually, you're gonna meet me here. You know, we're gonna have an event, a dope event. It's gonna get the attention of somebody, whether you be base level or, you know, elitist status, whatever. But when I do go out, I try to be so intentional to meet you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to meet you guys, vice spread myself thin and becoming exhausted by the third. Hey, how you doing? My name's Adam. You know, how you doing? And they're not present. They're, you know what I'm saying? I don't know you. Who are you? You know, and I'm just like, you know, it could be pride, ego, or it's just like, I don't want to put myself out there because being an artist, I think we all feel like that elevated sense of like self, you know, it's contained. I'm touching grass, but also, you know, I'm not trying to put myself out there too much in new environments. But when I do, I think I'm intentional about meeting people, feeling vibes, being present, you know. And like I said before, man, a shot or two, you know, it doesn't hurt, you know what I'm saying? So just to loosen up a little bit. But no, I definitely try to meet folks that are like me, that vibrate like me, that, you know, are talking about the same things that I'm talking about, man. So it's easier for me to remain in that space if I have to.
I think the basis of lounges is y'all both. I don't know if y'all ever seen it this way. Y'all already service people within your level, and your the way you engage people through business practices. So you are a barber. You do real estate. So you constantly are talking to people. You're constantly sitting up here talking about different things and experiences and things of that nature. It's just very. It's always great to see people take a skill set and turn it into a dollar sign.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to say that. I ain't got no question.
No,
That's just, I was just having a thought because I was like, man, because this entire time we talking, you never said, you know, you cut hair. You know what I mean? Like that's not, you do so many different things. Mm-hmm. I never knew that you cut hair.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that's yeah.
When I met you, you was working for a company at that present time, but you was transitioning out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you actually, you know, was a landlord and flip houses and do those things.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like y'all are two multifaceted individuals. You know what I'm saying?
I think the way Dwight, it's funny because you never asked the question, but it's a off camera we were talking about it, but how we met, and I always poke fun at bro. Now saying like, you know, that Mr. Scrooge from DuckTales, like every coin is accounted for, right? So I look at it as where it's just like, bro loves quality. Like, don't get it twisted. You know, I think everybody loves quality. But at Gamble, I just feel like his antennas went up. I did an ad through social media, and I used to have like half off Military Wednesdays.
Yep.
And I was kind of on the scene a little bit, cutting some of the movers and shakers in Cleveland. And I'm like, let me just put it out there. You know, it's just like I have a trade, I have a skill, I'm great at it, and I'm just gonna give it to him for half off for free if I got to. He comes in, and I don't even know how you was feeling at that time, bro, but he goes in, and he's loving it. I'm talking about, he's just like, eating this shit up every Wednesday. It's just like, boom, boom, he's
price,
coming.
man.
It's half price, and that's what I'm saying, man. It's just like every penny, it's just like I'm getting quality, and it's half off, like I'm there.
I'm in this.
So it started from, you know, the point of like, it makes sense when he's saying like, it has to make sense. He took it to the calculation. He was like, yeah, this makes sense.
So you met him on the half off win.
Yeah.
For veterans, right?
Yeah. It was a post. I see it on Facebook. It was Instagram.
Yeah.
Half price Wednesday. Like, who is this guy?
this
Half price
wait a minute,
Wednesdays.
wait a minute. This is before because we all three of us bald head up here. I mean,
Yeah, I had hair.
bald.
Yeah.
So this is before the head. This is shaved head, or
No,
this is.
I had hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
he
got
said,
it.
this has been a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
bro. About
It's
7 years now.
about 8 years.
Yeah, 7, 8
Her.
years. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, man, I kept seeing his videos online. I'm like, all right, man, some new barber in Cleveland, whatever. You know, and then he had half price for veterans. Like, all right, I'll try.
I'm in there. I'm in there. It makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to go save me a couple of dollars. I'll be back in an hour or two.
But check the exchange though. It was so crazy because it was, I can't remember if it was the first year or the second year. Man, you got me a Christmas present, man. Like you got me like a cup and, you know, like it was, I can't remember, was it scotch or something, but I wasn't expecting that. And I don't have clients. Like I got clients, but it's, you know, Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, bro, I'm not expecting anything from anybody, but everybody has expectations. It's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? It's this, it's that, or whatever. This man come in and is like, you know, happy holidays and pay for the cut. And I'm like, oh shit, I love this nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Look, this is from all the money I saved.
so after that, man, I think we just built. But the thing is, his wife was coming to get her hair cut too. I had a stylist in there, and she was getting her hair done by the stylist. And then she transitioned over to me, and she was just getting her back and stuff tapered up. But I remember, like, me and Aaron have our own friendship, but we're always talking about him. And I remember telling Aaron, it's like, man, this man, in retrospect to how I was living, I lived very fast, man. And back then I was living very fast. And I told her how envious I was of Dwight, you know, and like how I just saw him like, I want to be a businessman like that. I want to be organized like that. And there are parts of me that are there, you know what I'm saying? But I see first how happy his woman is, you know? And I'm just like, man, I could never make a woman that happy. Like she is literally like, bro, like everything is awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's because it is, bro. Like I just feel like that's because it is. And I remember we had a moment, man, and you know, she had prayed for me one time outside, bro. I was feeling really down, bro. I was really in some emotions, man. You didn't even know this, bro, but she had prayed for me, and I was just confessing to her and telling her, like, man, I want to be different. You know what I'm saying? And it was all based around, bro, like your friendship, how you would talk to me in a sense of urgency about my finances, bro. And nobody asked this nigga about nothing, you know what I'm saying? But he'd be like, why you out there spending all that money? You know? And bro, he would like talk to me, bro, or he'll just tell me even about what he's doing with his finances. And sometimes even listening. I'm listening. I set up this for my daughter. I set up this for my son. Before my son is even born, you know, I got this, and this lined up. It has motivated me not only to be a proper businessman and an organized businessman, but I have a real life base in brotherhood and friendship, but I'm seeing it from somebody actually doing it and not somebody just trying to sell me something. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
The relationship changed when you get that K1 partnership tax. Y'all both filing. If you ain't made it to that level of business yet, that's a whole different thing. When you're looking at your best friend's finances.
Yeah.
And you like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Man, that's peace, y'all. That's peace.
Yeah.
Let us see it.
So I'm glad you mentioned that she prayed for you because
Yeah.
you know, I don't like to push spirituality on anybody and talk about it, but when I asked some of these questions, I was surprised that you didn't say prayer in any of the things because God make it all possible for us. But one of my number one questions I like to always ask our guests, and y'all can play rock, paper, scissors who go first, but what are y'all most grateful for?
Man, I talk a lot, man. Go ahead. Like,
What I'm most grateful for, I'll say,
Don't forget, Aaron gonna see this.
I'll say my family.
Amen.
They're my motivation. You know, they keep me grounded. My kids, especially, you know, I have 3 kids. You know, my daughter, my eldest is 19, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. And the little ones, you know, I want to set them up. You know, like I see them and I'm doing the things for them that my parents couldn't do for me. You know, like my parents could do the best that they could do. you know, but where I'm at now, it's like, man, I could do so much more. So that's like my biggest motivation is to make sure that my kids are straight, you know, and my wife's taken care of, you know, happy home, you know, no issues. That's that's it for me. You know.
My son. I'm so deeply in love with my son. If anybody that knows me and Adam Jr., you can see it, you know it. I don't know my biological father, so you know everything that I imagine what it would be like. You know, and I have a great father and a stepfather. You know, like my stepfather's amazing. But to see myself, you know, I see my son and we look alike, and he has my mannerisms, and he's doing it, and he wants to make me proud, and I want to show him that I'm not an old man, and it's just like this beautiful relationship, man, and I only want to be right for him. So my son, you know, Adam Jr. is definitely that's my goal. That's my reason for everything. You know.
Last question for y'all. If you can leave something, a lasting impression on people here, not just in the city, but in the world, something that represents you when you're no longer here, what would it be? That's always a deep question.
That is.
I think about that quite often. That's why I always ask people.
Yeah. See, how do I answer that?
The legend.
Hey, you still owe me. Make sure you collect. In my passing, make sure you collect. They owe me.
Yeah. You know, my kids are like that right now. They say daddy's always about, you know, figuring out the finances, but I would say handle your business. Everything is possible. You know, you can do anything in this world. You know, like I said earlier, you know, I wasn't the biggest student. And, you know, the funny thing is my wife and I, we went to high school together, and she was in all AP classes, you know, like she was a nerd. And when I graduated, I had a 2.01 GPA. I just hit that 2.0, you know, like I was like happy, like, all right, I'm good now. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. And to see where I am today, like, hey, not the nerd, not the super, you know, not that I wasn't smart, but I just was, you know, bored, I guess. But to see where I am today, like anything is possible. You know, when I see people, you know, that I went to high school with, you know, like we all had that same, you know, upbringing, and where I am today, I feel like, you know, anything's possible, you know, so do your thing. You know, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something, you know, pick up a book, read a book, you know, figure it out, go after your goals,
Spend your summer
Words of
reading a
wisdoms.
book,
you know.
like Dwight.
Words of wisdom. I can take that. That's very, very valuable.
So everything he's saying, just to add to it, is knowing who you are while you do it. It's so crazy to go through life, and I've done it. I've done it in my 20s. I've done it a few times in my 30s, and throughout the day I might do it, and that is acting in monologue. You know, code switching. You know, doing something in spite of or that you didn't want to do. Now, you know, to have decorum, you can't just be one way. You know, you gotta be flexible and bend in certain areas, but it feels so good to operate as who I think I am. Whereas before I used to have to fake the funk or be under somebody else's program. And what I love about who I am today and what I would want to leave behind and influence other folks is nobody is bigger than your program. And if you're steadfast in who you are, who you think you are, and it's not like a facade and it's authentic, everything's gonna be okay. Because at that point, whether you succeed or fail, you did it for you, you know. So again, just everything he said, but just make sure you know who you are while you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. That's it.
More words of wisdom. Make sure you look into self and read a book.
Yeah.
So before we get up out of here, AD and Dwight, tell the people where they can find you.
All right, so I'm at Jackson's Motif. That's my personal page. Lounges_CLE. This is Lounges Content Studio, and Brilliant_Barber. I'm about to retire anytime. So I don't. Hey, it may. I don't know. I haven't been on there in a minute, but I cut a little hair. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
You can find me at Dwight Robinson _, on IG. I'm starting to post now. I'm not a big social media guy, but he's keep on forcing me to get out there and start posting things online. So you can catch me there.
AD Jackson and Dwight Robertson, y'all.